how can we pretend that we will bring life to another planet when we can't protect life on Earth now? Talk to me a bit about Interstellar Lab. What's the mission?
The big mission is to preserve life on Earth and to help life expand into space. And to do that, we do different things, but our core business is to...
How this is going to happen, when this is going to happen.
We book a flight. The launch window is... So we go on Starship. Starship will land on the moon, and then preserving life on Earth by learning how plants react to the biosphere environment and how they react to the climate. And to be honest, I think everything is already out there. I think we just need to boost the plant, to use the plant as a bioreactor to produce what we need, instead of trying to replace it by machines. Technology should be used to help us live here in harmony with and without destroying everything that is around. So we're not replacing, we are integrating within the existing supply chain.
At InFlavour, what were some of your kind of highlights of that event?
It was actually very interesting to see how Saudi Arabia is moving very, very fast and attracting a lot of people from all around the world. And I was not expecting flavors, scent, food, and all those things.
Do you think that we will see humans on Mars in our lifetime?
Well, it all rely on...
Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy.
I truly believe in the dream of becoming a multiplanetary species. Science, arts, there's something very poetic, something touching. For me, that's the big thing. If you don't believe in the future, why wake up every day?
You're about to watch a fascinating discussion I had with Barbara Belvisi from Interstellar Lab. This incredible woman and her team are changing the way we think about growing plants both here on Earth and in space. I know you're going to love this episode of the InFlavour podcast, especially if you're interested in the future of food, space, and sustainable technology. Before we jump in, I want to ask a quick favour. If you like what you hear, if you derive any benefit from this podcast, then please engage with it by sharing with your friends, commenting on it, and liking it. It makes a huge difference to us and will enable us to keep bringing high quality conversations from people who are literally changing the world. I hope you enjoy the episode. Barbara, the idea of humans exploring, working and living in space is thrilling, but how can we pretend that we will bring life to another planet when we can't protect life on Earth now?
It's funny you're actually exactly using the sentence, because when I unveiled the company and what we're doing at Interstellar Lab is actually the first thing that I said on stage. And that's the whole purpose of this company is I truly believe in the dream of becoming a multiplanetary species, and not only humans, but that life on Earth. That's what's in, the biosphere and how everything was created there is just miraculous. And we have to learn from it and try to bring it to other planets. And for me, this dream of becoming multiplanetary is only achievable if we manage to live first on this planet. So I'm a huge believer of space exploration and bringing life to other planets. But it all starts here with understanding the world we live in and understanding how we can use technology to, not to destroy the world that gave birth to us.
So talk to me a bit about Interstellar Lab. What's the mission?
The big mission is to preserve life on Earth and to help life expand into space. And to do that, we do different things, but our core business is to design and to manufacture and to operate what we call biofarms. So very advanced farming solution. Inside which we run programs, so we are able to recreate any type of climate and condition, and to trigger inside plants the production of the specific molecules that are used by our customers. So I will take the example of, let's say you want vitamin C from a plant, because humans eat it. And so we will play with the light condition, the water stress, the bacteria, the selection of the DNA, the phenotype of the plant. We play with all of this information and try to accelerate the production of vitamin C. We can do that for food supplements, but we can also do that for cosmetics, for perfume, for medicinal plants, and on Earth and of course in space. So the way we're approaching this has been selected by NASA for future space mission.
Amazing. We'll get into that a little bit more in a bit, but talking about the kind of biocompounds element of things, how does your kind of solution differ from what is currently done? Like, how, with vitamin C, for example, or certain biocompounds that you'd need for cosmetics, how is this currently produced, and how does it differ?
Yeah, so you have synthetic and natural ingredients. So synthetic ingredients, it's a combination of different molecules plugged together, and so they're just redesigned in the lab and then mass manufacture, and that's synthetic. It depends on if it's food or if it's cosmetic or perfume, but 50% of the other ingredients are coming from natural extract. So you have a plant, and then you have an extraction technique. You extract from the plant, from the biomass, the thing that you're looking for, the biocompound that you're looking for. And then you need a lot of biomass to extract. And then you produce whatever ingredients you're using after. It can be an essential oil if it goes into a perfume. It can be different things. So currently, the way it's done for natural ingredients, you have extraction companies like IFF, like DSM Firmenich, like Robertet. They buy biomass, so they buy plants. They go all around the world to find specific species and specific varieties. They buy those plants, and then they work with their machine to extract the molecule that their customers want. In the way we're approaching it, those guys are actually our partners, and we work with them. The way we're doing it, the final customer will come to us, a company like L'Oréal, and will tell us which molecule from which plant they are actually currently using. We will take the plant, we will put it in our system, and then we will play with all the systems. So we have a bunch of sensors, we have like all this technology to recreate the climate, and we will analyze the plant and see how it's reacting to specific stimuli. And based on that, and based on the research, and a third of the company are scientists, and based on all of this experiment and research, then we figure the right recipe to trigger inside plant without doing any gene modification, but just by playing with the climatic condition, we trigger the production of the specific molecule that are asked from our customers. And this is where we are different, is that we're really looking at the interaction between the climate and the plant phenotype for a specific use case. And then we can take all this knowledge, we turn it into codes that we can push into our farming solution. And so that's the difference between what we're doing and some other companies are doing for natural ingredients. So we're not replacing, we are integrating within the existing supply chain, which is we're solving a big pain point for the big players.
So the pain point, is it to do with supply or yield, or what's the pain point?
The pain point is the sourcing of natural ingredients is very hard to trace. Some ingredients are coming from different locations all around the world, so you're not really sure about the quality of your biomass or even where it's coming from. So there was a problem with traceability. There is a problem with the carbon impact of taking those biomass from all around the world and gathering them in a specific place. There is the problem of the extraction, because sometimes the percentage of the molecule is so low inside the biomass that you need a lot of it. And then the extraction technique is not always the most sustainable. Where we are coming in with like localize, our farm use less water, less energy. They capture CO2, so it's a sealed bubble that is function as a mini biosphere. So the sustainable farming solution is hard, relocalized, and we boost the production of the specific molecule. So you use less biomass. And their pain point was how they couldn't find solution to scale the production of natural ingredients sustainably, like to get clean plant-based ingredients. This is what's hard. And this is where we're bringing a solution.
One of the things that I'd seen you talk about before as well is kind of, especially in relation to taking your farm to space and that sort of thing, is kind of ancient and heirloom varieties of plants. Could you talk a little bit more about that as well? Because it seems to me that you're very interested in, rather than genetically modifying and that sort of thing, actually looking at sort of nature and optimizing the whatever it is, the yield or the nutritional value of certain plants.
A few things. First thing, if you look at ancient knowledge, like back, like, 1,000 years ago. Everything was coming from plants, like from the food to the makeup to the medicine. And they had a really unbelievable knowledge about, which plant will do what without knowing which molecule was inside. And we still don't know. And this is the part that is of big interest for us, is really to take those plants that we have no idea why they're doing that to human or to, animals and trying to understand how they work and what is triggering the production of this specific, medicine or what that is having an effect. And gathering all this information and I think is really at the heart of what motivates us. That's why when I say the mission of the company is to help preserve life on Earth and expand to space, is preserving life on Earth by learning how plants react to the biosphere environment and how they react to the climate. And to be honest, I think everything is already out there. And if we better understand how plants are producing those molecules, I think we just need to boost the plant, to use the plant as a bioreactor to produce what we need instead of trying to replace it by machines. So we use machine to recreate the environment because you cannot control the Earth climate. And so we, like in mini, well, like some of our farms are quite big, but yeah, and looking at ancient plant and all the species, this is something that is a big interest. And all the information we're actually gathering and we're getting from our experimentation and from existing database as well. We build what we call the database of the plant kingdom. So you have a species, several varieties, the molecules that are produced by those plants, the application that have those molecules, how we know we can trigger the production of those molecules. And so all this library, like all this information about the plant kingdom, I think this is the goal of, Interstellar, but not only us, this is of life on Earth. But that's the most important part, is really trying to learn from life around us.
Wow. So your technology, you kind of talk about it being these farms that are closed loop, they're bubbles. Could you talk a little bit more, in a bit more detail, about what that looks like and how it actually works?
Yeah, sure. We have a family of biopods. So like there are different size and different shape. The one that is most known is like the first biopod that we released, is this egg-shaped, futuristic look. It's a farm that is so 11 meter long, 6 meter wide, 6 meter tall. It sits on a chassis, and then you have a structure like a boat, fiberglass structure, inside which we put all the machinery. You have the lungs, so the HVAC system, the CO2 scrubber, and so we take the air from the outside atmosphere to inflate the bubble. And you have all the watering system, the nutrient dosing system, and on top of it you have the growing system for the plants. But so it looks like a huge shell, white shell, with inflated bubble on top of it. The membrane is made of a material called ETFE, which is 100% recyclable and lasts a very long time. Can be transparent or opaque, or half opaque, half transparent. And you have lights coming from the LED system, because we can use sun and we can use the LED system. So it's kind of a white cocoon with the pinkish light coming out of the membrane. So it's very sci-fi look. And so that's the biopod. The biopod, actually model 1. We have a new model coming that we're announcing in a month from now, which is a little bit bigger, a bit more square. Like this one was egg-shaped. The next one is a little bit more not rectangular, but a bit more squared. It's much more optimized for production. And so that's the new model coming in. I'm not going to tell the name because it's released in a month. Then we have the other one that are more like cubic version. We have model Phyto, which is the one that we use for the research. We have Nucleus, which is the one we designed for NASA. It's made of 6 quarks, growing quarks, and it's so super, square-shaped to be put inside a space station. And the last biopod of the family is Little Prince. And Little Prince is designed to grow a flower on the moon, like the book. And so we have this like family of biopod from Little Prince to the last model, which I'm not going to name, and that is coming in, which it's cool.
Have you deployed these to clients? Like, do some of your clients actually have these working?
We currently have all of them here because we charge them to do the operation. So we are currently operating the farms. The first deployment outside our biopark is going to be at end of this year, early next year. But currently, all the biopods, they're located southeast of Paris. There is one that is at NASA Kennedy Space Center in Florida.
Cool. So tell us more about your relationship with NASA and the plans for the future when it comes to actually implementing this tech in space.
Sure. So NASA launched a competition 2 years ago, which is called the NASA Deep Space Food Challenge. The main purpose is to finance technology that can help cover some of the nutritional gaps for astronauts. And so, again, we're back to the molecule level and to the metabolite level. It's so NASA made a list of all the nutrients that will degrade in pre-packaged food after 6 to 8 months travel, and so vitamin C, potassium, magnesium, all those things. And so they make this list public, and then they ask companies to come up with a solution to cover some of those gaps. So we took that list, we put it in our AI that is helping us figure out how to find, based on the need, which plant is offering a solution. And so we made the selection of plants, and we call the AI, this algorithm is the crop selector. And so it helped us select the crops. Based on those crops, then we were like, okay, and NASA requirements for a specific design to be put inside a station. Then that's how we design the nucleus system, which is this combination of the 6 quarks, the 6 cubes. Each cube is a different climate, completely controlled. They do gas exchange. You have one where CO2 is a little bit higher. We'll take from this one, and then you put the O2. So it's it's a biosphere in boxes to simplify. And we won phase 1, phase 2. So we sent them a prototype at phase 2, and we're currently building for phase 3. So the newest version of the product. So the structure this time is all 3D printed, and we changed a bit the airflow, and we've been designing a new application for the interaction between the machine and the astronauts. They pretty much have nothing to do, just press a button and just get notification when it's time to harvest. But well, this is where we're trying to go in terms of automation. But that's ongoing. That's really cool. After this summer, early in September, we'll see what's going to be the next phase with NASA on this one. We have another project with ESA, which is a little bit slower. It's kind of the same principle as a box, where we control all the condition and we measure how the plants react to flying into Earth orbit. There are some others coming that we've been in discussion with the new space stations coming in there. And then there is Mission Little Prince, which is very special to my heart. I grew up reading The Little Prince, I don't know how many times, and it's one of the reasons why I started this company also. And so Mission Little Prince is we want to grow a flower on the moon. And of course, there is science and technology and everything, but it's mostly a mission that is done for to bring hope and to so space exploration is not only about, and it shall not be about mining the moon or whatever we did wrong here and just repeat again. Yeah, great. No, what we're trying to do here is to trigger, because people don't know that, but so The Little Prince is the second most read book in the world after the Bible, at least the second most translated. And the story of the Little Prince, well, he has a flower on his planet, and he was so in love with this flower, and then he goes and travels all around. What we're trying to do with Mission Little Prince is to show that there is something more about space exploration, that if you can grow a flower on the surface of the moon, well, maybe we can use technology back on Earth to preserve, biodiversity and plants. But also we want to trigger the inner child inside you. It's inside adults. So when you look at the moon, then you'll see a moon and you will picture a flower growing there, which I think can help in a little bit of awakening that is needed on this planet. Voilà.
It almost feels like the merging of kind of science and art, really, this mission. Would you say that's accurate?
Yeah, I agree. Science, art, and poesy. There is something very poetic, very, I don't know if it's because I'm French, but something touching. And I think growing, a delicate flower is hard to grow delicate flower on the surface of the moon, especially in a transparent payload where you have to control all the climate. Plus, we want to put a camera to take the pictures to record everything well. So it's going to be an interesting one. It's not like growing potatoes. It means something different.
What are the technical kind of details for how this is going to happen, when this is going to happen?
We book a flight on SpaceX Starship first commercial flight. The launch window is 26-28. SpaceX is moving really, really fast in developing Starship. It's going to be somewhere in between 26-28. I bet on 27. Then it's more on us that we have to be ready. And so it's the first commercial flight. So it's not like the test flight that you see right now. And we'll go aboard a rover with a company called Astrolab. And the rover will just carry the payload. So we'll go on Starship. Starship will land on the moon. And then the rover will go down on the surface of the moon. And the rover is carrying the payload. And then he will just move a little bit away from Starship, and then it will take the payload out. He's carrying things. And he will just put it on the surface of the moon, and then it's on, and then we can follow the flower growing and eventually send pictures back to the Earth. So right up.
Amazing. And will it be sort of fully pre-programmed, or will you have sort of dynamic control of it?
No, it will be pre-programmed. And we'll try to, we don't have a lot of space. There's a lot of system that will have more passive system, like a passive watering system. We don't want to use the battery to water the plants. So it's more the plant's going to get access to its own water and nutrients. There are still a lot of unknowns. To be honest, we're just at kickoff, and we got the flight, we booked the stuff, and
No, that's cool. That's cool. So your tech, let's talk about Mars for a second. How do you perceive your tech being used on Mars?
We need to do some changes and adaptation on our hardware. Obviously, it's not the same condition. Well, we have this list of plants, this database of information about plants. Of course, we'll do iteration on the algorithm, but we can design basically the whole menu for a crew that is going there, and add criteria like taste, very diverse food, and so just come up with a menu, but not only a menu, but a schedule. And so the schedule will be just put into the machine, and the machine will know what needs to be planted to be harvested. So we can just do the retro planning to just prepare for the crew to be fed with our system. Currently, it's designed to be used by humans, so you still need a human to do the seedling and then the harvesting. It's not fully automated. By the time we fly to Mars, the humanoid robots might have been evolved to a certain point that can do the basic task of seeding and harvesting. So there is a possibility that we can ship our greenhouse without any humans. But then you'll be why do you need to grow plants if you ship robots?
But presumably getting something established, there's huge value in that ahead of time. Is there any application beyond growing food and medicine of the system that will help human life on a planet like Mars?
You mean of the system, how we design the hardware and how it's functioning? Well, it can recreate any type of climate. So now it's...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of thinking about, breathing, and I'm thinking about recycling water and all this sort of stuff. I feel like there's probably something in that, and I'd just love to kind of find out your thoughts on that side of things. The
greenhouse is the pods are part of a vision that we started with initially in 2018, was a vision of the station that was combining farms and then a pod dedicated to human life and another pod dedicated to water recycling. And so recreating this biosphere inside different structure. And so if you think a little bit further down the road, our system can be used for not only to grow plants, but it can be to support human life. It's harder to maintain the environment to grow tropical plants. Like you need a very high level of humidity, very hot temperature. You need to drop the temperature during the night. Well, for humans, it's like pretty steady. And you don't need all those like things to trigger whatever reaction inside humans. So if we can do it for plants, we can basically do it for humans. Yeah, there is a possibility it can be used for human life as well. It's not our focus now. Maybe after the IPO and when everyone is using biopod on Earth to grow plants, then maybe I'll be like, okay, now we can focus on humans on Mars.
And just a quick one whilst we're still on Mars. What's your personal opinion? Do you think that we will see humans on Mars in our lifetime?
Yep. Yeah, 100%.
Wow.
Like super, super soon. Well, it all rely on, to be honest, right now the whole industry, the whole space industry is very dependent on one big player. So it's a lot of pressure, I think, on their shoulders.
Yeah.
They're doing pretty well under pressure. I mean, they've always kind of like deliver under like crazy tons of pressure. I've been to Starbase several times and how fast they are on rocket iteration, and it's really inspiring for a lot of young companies like us. So yeah, but I think it's very, very soon, like less than 10 years for sure.
Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy. So coming back down to earth, then. One of the things that we are really passionate about at InFlavour is talking about sustainability. And so I'd love to ask you, what does sustainability mean to you?
For me, it's about learning how to live in harmony with its environment. And so, of course, we need some resources. Like as a human, I need to eat. So I need a fruit, but I'm not going to eat the entire tree and destroy the tree, and just to be full and happy. I think sustainability is about using what you need to use and also closing the loop. So having like this very circular, regenerative approach, where basically you use something and how it can be reused and how you integrate within a chain and go with it. And so it applies for us, for instance, in the material that we're using. So initially, as I said, we're like, boats or planes and some rockets are manufactured. They use fiberglass. So we started with that. And then, the process of manufacturing is very non-sustainable and not scalable and very expensive. And so we completely cut it out of our product, and we moved to like a more lean manufacturing approach where basically, we do a full review of the design, but also let's choose the material we want to use for the base so it can be recyclable, durable, and we changed the design so it doesn't have to be structural. So that's how we managed to get out of this like composite shell and to move to 3D printing. But so in terms of sustainability, it goes like even in how we design for manufacturing, the material we want to use to manufacture, and how it can be recycled at the end of the loop when a biopod is not functioning. So on the structure, the membrane and the structure, it's easier. On the hardware inside the components, so that's not something we do. We don't do like the chips. We buy stuff, we assemble, we integrate. But so we're very dependent on how a supplier are manufacturing. So we have like some rules on how we select the component and who we work with that we apply to try to have like the more sustainable product to really have the best product possible right now that we can build on Earth. And then in the way we design the entire farm is designed to be sustainable. Like it takes the CO2 from the atmosphere. You fill up the tank of water, it's a sealed bubble. It recycles all the water until there is no more water. You have no waste coming out of the biopod. You have no like used water that you need to purify. Everything is done at the farm level. And it's not a building, so we don't do any foundation. It's like elevated. It's like a spaceship. And so all those principles, I think, that's very integrated at the core of what we do. And of course, there is always room for improvement. But each product iteration is a way for us to develop a better solution.
In terms of kind of more widely looking at humanity, what are some of your biggest concerns when you look at the state of the world at the moment, particularly when it comes to the climate and sustainability?
Okay, it depends on the day and who I'm spending time with and what I see. what are my biggest concern. I don't know why this one is going to my head, but I will say, I think people are a little bit, I don't know if it's a generation or something, but the people are less happy. And that's one of it's one of my big concern about humanity is like, you have to be, you want to be happy and have hope in a future. And I can see, in the way people party, for instance, I think it's more sad than it used to be before. Before it was like singing and like a lot of happiness, and there's a lot of darkness right now. I don't know if it's good or bad, but I just can see that people are, they're less hopeful, and that's a bit of a concern for me, because I think if you don't have hope in the future and if you're not happy, it's like really hard to wake up every day. So I'm trying to bring happiness and optimism for the future. But that's, for me, that's the big thing. If you don't believe in the future, then why wake up every day?
That makes a lot of sense, and I think that it's really encouraging to hear that from you as someone who is very involved in technology and very involved in solutions to some of the world's biggest problems. Because I think it's important to have faith in human innovation, and that kind of feels to me like that's what you're saying there. You're saying, hey, yes, there's problems, but there's human innovation. There is hope, and we've got to kind of believe in that and work towards those solutions.
Yes, exactly. But also, technology is not is only a tool, and the reason why we're here is to learn how to live in harmony with our environment, with nature, with life that is already there. So it's not only, it's human innovation in the context of living on Earth biosphere. And so that's the end of the sentence. That for me is very important. Technology should be used to help us live here in harmony with and without destroying everything that is around. And that's sometimes this part is missing in some quotes or in some, what people are pushing. But it's really about, how we use that to live here.
What needs to change in people's attitudes and behaviors when it comes to this stuff?
There are many entrepreneurs that are trying to do the good things, and there are a bunch of us trying to do stuff for the earth, and it's growing, and there is a big demand as well from young people to work for companies that have doing a meaningful impact. I think it's very important for those entrepreneurs in the climate world is to find a business to integrate within the existing model. Because you need to fit in, like to find a way so it can scale. That's the hardest part. I think it's going to happen. I'm very optimistic for the future. We're really many, and trying to do things and deliver the optimism, with a big smile and a lot of energy, not naive at all, but just like with a lot of positive energy to trying to change things. And I think this is how we're gonna do it.
We met for the first time at InFlavour in Riyadh, and it was a great time. There were so many inspiring entrepreneurs there who are building businesses in this kind of sustainability sector, especially when it comes to food. What advice would you give an entrepreneur who's perhaps a few steps back from where you are, a founder who wants to create a startup in this space that makes a difference and works towards solutions to some of the world's biggest problems?
It's a bumpy road, so you have to really be hooked onto what you're doing. If it's purely, in brackets, opportunistic play, like this is not something you're like truly passionate. Like this company, I have it in my gut. Like it's like this is done. This is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. I don't care about anything else. But I'm like completely hooked. So I don't know if you say that in English, you say that in French, but I'm like really attached to it, like from my gut. So I will tell the entrepreneur, you have to be 100% sure this is something you will not let go, because the first years are pretty hard. So that's the first advice. Second advice will be very quickly try to understand the market and listen to your customers or potential customer. Listen to the market. They tell you what they need, and then you need to build a product for them. So you can start with a vision of something you want to build, but then the answer is in the mouths of the people who are buying your product. So listen to them. They're telling you. They're actually just telling you what they want, and then build it for them. Third, when doors don't open, don't lose too much time or energy. I don't mean let go. What I mean is that sometimes it's not the right time, it's not the right moment, it's not, and you will knock at a door and it's not opening. But even though you're sure this person or this company is but it's not the right time. So then put your energy where doors open, go with the flow, and then the doors that was closed will open a little bit later on.
Yeah, that's such wise words. Thank you. At InFlavour, what was some of your kind of highlights of that event?
It was actually very interesting to see how Saudi Arabia is moving very, very fast and attracting a lot of people from all around the world. But I've been spending over the past 3 years, I've been doing a lot of back and forth there. We have some investment from FII, so PIF through FII is a small investor in the company. And I think what I saw was really, companies from all around the world, entrepreneur, investors, like gathering. And I was not expecting to have like this really mixed, and especially around, flavor, scent, food, and all those things. So really, really impressive gathering of people.
What do you think the opportunities are for folks at InFlavour? Folks who maybe are thinking about joining this year in 2024. What are some of the opportunities there?
Saudi Arabia is a very good place to start when it comes to start entering the Middle East. And I think the opportunity is important to go there to understand, what are we talking about? Who are the people behind? Who's making what? What's the strategy? What's the vision? How much money is also invested in new farming solution? Because there is a big need over there. And so I highly recommend any entrepreneur or company who has a willingness to deploy its solution, its technology or product to go there and to meet the local people, meet the people from all around the world who are coming, and to go present their solution. Because they know how to make things scale.
As we sort of wrap up, is there anything that I've not asked you that I should have asked you?
No, I don't think so.
Barbara, it's been absolutely fascinating listening to you, and so many words of wisdom. So I'm so grateful for you joining me on the podcast. For those who want to find out more, who want to learn more about you, your technology, where's the best place for them to do that?
Website or Twitter, X. You can find us there, and LinkedIn, at Interstellar LA on X, and in the Interstellar Lab on LinkedIn.
Awesome. Well, thank you ever so much, Barbara. It's been amazing, and see you soon, hopefully.
Yes, you will.